Synergy is not accidental. Thank you. Synergy is systemic. Synergy can be repeated. Synergy is not a flash in the pan. What do we mean by synergy? We mean that you have everyone on your team who starts to move together as a collective. It means that you have alignment within your teams and you have a central point of focus that means something to the people on the teams, that has them want to work towards that together. You can't force synergy, you can't artificially create synergy, but you can create the environment where synergy can exist and can thrive. There is a formula and a recipe that you can do to really give space to build a runway for synergy on your teams. Okay, I want to ask real quickly, who here has worked on a project where everyone has really come together and you felt like you were in alignment, that you were moving as a collective, and things that, there were problems, there were issues, there were conflicts, but they were getting solved quickly and effortlessly. Hey, all right, so you know what that feels like. Any brave souls, one word, want to say what that felt like to you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What the goal was, what the role was. Yes. What's one word that felt like that? What was one word? How you felt about it, working on projects like that? Proud. Anyone else? Refreshing. Motivated. Energized. And what's fun about these words is these aren't always the kind of words that you would attribute to work. When you have synergy on a team, it can transcend the work. It can become, it can bring its own energy to it. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I worked for, I was consulting for an advertising agency many years ago, and they were growing their digital space. They were huge in commercials, huge in print, but they were growing their digital space. And in doing so, they were getting a lot more clients, but they had fallen behind on their own website. So their own website was not indicative of the kind of work that they could be doing from their clients, and it finally got to the point that it was starting to actually potentially cost them clients. And of course, they weren't doing that because it wasn't billable work, right? They wanted to put their best people on work that was going to make them money, on work that they were going to be doing with their clients. So finally, leadership assembled a team, and they said these three things. Number one, you have 30 days. You've been working on it for 8 months, you have 30 days, get it done. Requirements, user experience design, front-end, back-end development, testing, get it done, 1 month. Number two, we're going to put a countdown timer on our website. And we're going to advertise to the world when that countdown timer hits 0, the new website is going live. Number three, we're going to put you in a war room. We're going to put cameras on here, and we're going to live stream you working to the world. So I see different faces out here, and some of them had the same as we did. We were like, challenge accepted. And so it all of a sudden had this immense rise in energy. We wanted to make this happen. And the next 30 days were like anything else I had ever experienced before. It was agile development at its finest. It was developers and graphic designers, user experience designers, content, all sitting together, rapid iteration. Everybody checked their ego. Everybody left their ego at the door. We were now in it for the pride of this project. We wanted to be innovative without over-innovating. There was no time for over-innovating. It had to be simple and it had to be quickly doable. I don't know if anyone can hear that, sorry. Leadership was in lockstep with us. Decisions were getting made in rapid fire. There was no time, they were quality decisions. And we were burning the midnight oil without being burnt out. We were working on beanbag chairs, we were working on park benches, but this had an energy to it. We were fueled by it, and it was successful. And it went live, and we celebrated. If any of you have ever had the pleasure of working in advertising, they can celebrate. And we celebrated. So why did that work? In order for that to work, you have to understand human nature. I think that is the number one trait for good project managers, is being able to understand human nature and understand how people work together and individually. And so my therapist told me this about my kids, and it turns out it applies to adults as well. People will go one of two directions. Number one, they want a challenge to solve. Sorry, I'm forgetting my own slides here. Number one, they want a challenge to solve. Or number two, they will create conflict. People need something to do. They need something to focus on. They need problems to solve. That is where you can get that kind of synergy. Otherwise, you get conflict. You get egos, you get communication gaps, you get loops, you get static, you get noise, you get a loss of momentum on projects. So we gave our team, they gave us a challenge to solve. And they gave us a North Star. They gave us, and a North Star is really specific for project management. I like using that because it's different than a purpose and it's different than meanings. Everyone can navigate against a North Star. It's constant. You know where it is, you know how to use it. If project managers aren't there one day, if leadership's not there, the team can still work because the North Star is so clear. We had a North Star. We knew exactly what we were doing on that project. So I'm sure some of you are saying, okay, well, aren't all projects a challenge to be solved? What made that one so special? Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. Thank you. I will tell you. So what made that so much is they raised the stakes. And when they raised the stakes on it, they changed it from just a challenge to be solved, which you're absolutely right, is most every project that we work on, to a movement. It actually became a movement. It took on a life of its own. And you can't have a movement if you don't have synergy on your team. And movements are transformative. That project changed our lives. First of all, for the company, they were seen as bold and innovative and pushing the limits. Do you think they got clients off that? Absolutely. All the departments were very proud of themselves after that, but it was the people. First of all, that was a resume builder. I've used that story in many interviews. Second of all, there's a kind of confidence that you can get from working on project teams or working in teams in general where you achieve something almost impossible together. There's a famous guru that I love named Sadhguru, and he says, people do not need to be concerned about what is possible. And I absolutely love that. So if you can think for a moment, close your eyes if you want to or not. Think back to those projects where everything just worked, where you had that kind of synergy. How did you feel about yourself when that project was over? And then how did you carry that energy into the next project? How did you carry that energy into your personal lives? And I bet if you think back, something in your life changed shortly thereafter, which could have felt completely disconnected, completely irrelevant to the project. But it wasn't, because you shifted your energy and you changed your central point of attraction. You called in something new. Working on projects like that matters. They do, they change lives. Okay, so now we know we have to have a challenge and we have to have a movement, right? Is that it? No. So think of this as like a road trip, and knowing that you have to have a challenge, raising the stakes to create a movement, that is like knowing where you want to go and having your GPS tell you how to get there. But you're still, thank you, but you're still missing, there we go, but you're still missing a few key things like the car, the person driving it, infrastructure. All right, so that brings us to the more grounded things, and that is the 5 pillars of great project management. This is a framework that I created when I go into different companies to do project management, and it is team culture, project structures, quality, and organizational change management. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, I mean, come on, Katrina, that's like every great project. Yes, that's true. However, you'd be surprised how many organizations have all or any of these implemented. It can be understood, it's hard to implement. Number one, you have to have the right team. You have to have a team of experts when you're working on complex projects. You want your novices paired with your experts because you need to grow future experts. But do you think when we said we're going live in 30 days that we had first-year graphic designers or developers straight out of school? Absolutely not. We had experts. They knew exactly what they were supposed to be doing, so there were roles and responsibilities. No one was stepping on each other's toes. No one was trying to do each other's jobs. And nobody was working on anything else. For that 30 days, we were heads down. They were not having their bandwidth drawn down by other projects. Priorities were extremely clear. We had an exceptional team working on that project. Number 2 is culture. So everyone wants a culture of trust. That's a fabulous word. There's so many ingredients that go into having trust. The first one is being able to have a culture of making mistakes and taking risks. You have to have a threshold for risk-taking and making mistakes. Now, obviously, you can't make them over and over and over again. If you have that, it's the wrong team member, and they have to go to, that goes back to number 1. Number 2 is you have to have decision-making. You have to have a leader who is accessible and good at making decisions. Nothing will kill momentum and synergy faster than poor decision-making. And number 3, you have to have transparency. I know that's a buzzword. I know everyone says it all the time, but it has to be a state of being. Instead of like, we're going to work on transparency, it just has to be. Everyone is just sharing what they know because it's required for this project. And number 3, project structures. I don't know how many of you have worked on projects where it took you forever to update status reports and executive dashboards, and you had these snapshots that you had to do, and you had all this work, and it felt like you were spending more time managing your infrastructure than just the project itself. We were scrappy on this. It was MS Project, Jira for tickets, and Excel spreadsheets. We met in the morning, we met in the afternoon, Scrum style. What are you working on? What have you completed? What's next? What's in your way? What are you waiting on? Super fast. It was lean. It was scrappy. It was clean. There weren't a lot of dashboards. There weren't a lot of meeting minutes. Everything was in lists. So it was sortable, trackable, sendable, filterable, and actionable. And it was beautiful. It was scrappy, but it was clean. And the other 2, I'm going to hop over because of my time. Quality, of course, with respect to our requirements, with respect to our testing, and organizational change management. So that is the framework. That is where you can create. If you have these in place, now you can start looking for those micro synergies. Now you can start looking for those moments. It could just be with testing. It could be with discovery. You can see those opportunities when the team is starting to gel. Then you want to think to yourself, okay, what do you want to do now? We can create something now. We can do something with this. We can work on this. We can build something. What do we need to change? What can we add some stakes to? But if you don't have this, then you start here. Okay, let me look at my team. Are there gaps in my team? Are there people I need to hire? What about culture? Am I in charge? How good is the culture in the company that I'm working on? Are there things that I can be working on here? What if I'm not in charge? What are things that I can be working on? What are things that I can be working on right there? And you can make real change. You can create these opportunities within your organization. You can leverage momentum, leverage that synergy, build a movement, and change lives. One advertising website at a time. Thank you.